Alright, hello. I'm Walper, and we're picking up where we left off. Continuing to work on this game called Chat Predicts. So this is the game where I'm designing it to be something that is constantly on during a stream, kind of like Stream Avatars or something like that. And in my case, this game is a prediction game, so that's why it's called Chat Predicts. Basically, you have like a pachinko type layout, and everyone in chat is trying to guess where the ball is going to end up. And we can look at the game real quick. It's going to show up in this little rectangle right here, hopefully. Okay, there we go. Let's get our console here. Yeah, so it's showing a portion of the ball trajectory right now, and you could get 1,000 points if you voted right now. Now it'll give you a little longer trajectory, 750 points if you could guess right now which bucket it's going to land in, etc. And so today's task, we have the basic game working pretty well. It's got a little like local leaderboard and stuff, and the logic of the game is working pretty well. We have a few different board layouts, but I want to start making it look a little nicer, and I think the plan for that is that we're going to start hooking up some palettes into the game, which makes me think I might not even want or need these like little outlines around walls and things. And we might simplify this a little bit. I think we probably will, actually. Okay, so let's get right to it. So my plan is we're gonna need a thing called let's make a thing called game palette. How do you spell palette? P-A-L-E-T-T-E? Okay. So we're gonna make first of all we're gonna make a little script that can store the palette for the game. And then once we have that, we're going to load that from disk so that we can have different ones. And then this doesn't even need to be a mono behavior, I don't think. Should we just make it a static class? Let's do it. I think this will be fine. We're going to have a static class called game palette. And we're going to have let's just do it like this. Enum what are we going to call this? Color usage. Or we'll just call it usage. Okay, so we have background top, background bottom. So we're supporting having a simple gradient for the background. Frame wall. And then we have just regular wall. And then we have bucket divider. Okay. Then we have let's call it moving object. And let's see what else we're gonna have. The ball itself. Now the ball itself yeah, I mean, I guess we just, what about do ball normal, ball bouncy, ball heavy? I don't know. I'm not sure about this yet, but let's just get it going and then we'll see how it works. Then we have backgrounds, frame walls, walls, bucket dividers, and moving objects. Okay, let's say that's all we have for now. Okay, and then this thing's gonna have we essentially need a color for each one. I think that's probably going to be the simplest way to handle it. So we could just have a private static dictionary that maps usage to color. Okay. And then we can just have a public static color called getColor, and you just pass in the usage. And so we'll say if color map.contains key u, then we just return this. Otherwise, we're missing a color, so what should the fallback behavior be? Let's see, if there is a wall, return that. Otherwise, return just pure white. Okay, so this is gonna be our simple super simple palette, and then we're gonna need a way to load this, you know, from disk, I guess. I think we're just gonna load this from a text file. Yeah, so let's try that. Public static void load from file string full path. So this is gonna be like, we're just gonna do this pretty simple. So we're just gonna say file dot read all text. I guess we'll do if file dot exists with the full path. Then does this return an array? I think it does. Or does it just give us a single string? Can we do read all lines? That'll make it easier. Okay. All right. So we've read in this thing. We have, and we're just gonna expect that each line of text is a specific format. Expect this format for each line. So it would be name equals text color. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to say, first of all, we're going to clear our color map. All right, and then we're going to do for each string line in lines. And since we're expecting an equals sign, we can just do string parts equals line dot split. We're going to split this by a new array of characters. Whoops. Which just contains the equal sign. We're going to remove empty entries. And now we're going to say if parts.length equals 2. We only want two total things. Something before the equal sign and something after the equal sign. Okay, now try to find the usage entry. Now I gotta remember how you do this. So you can try parse like this, and we pass in parts 1 or parts 0. Ignore case is true, and then out. Okay, so then what we're gonna have here, we're gonna have a usage U, and we're gonna have color C. So out U. Okay, so if we're able to parse the thing before the equal sign to be one of these things, and we're happy. Oh, hey, Bribe Robot. Impressive file reading from memory. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm probably going to run into some things I have to look up here in a second. So usage, this is just like, basically in a second, I'm going to write a script called, like, or places where I use colors. I'm going to write a script where it says, hey, use the color, and it's going to be one of these from this list. So this would be, oh, hey, Sympathy. How's it going? Did I figure out channel points? No, but we could try it if you have a second to hang around, Sympathy. We can definitely we can check it out. But if you're lurking, no problem. First, I was working on adding up color palettes to the game, so we can swap out the colors, and I can go online and find some better colors than the ones I've been using. But Sympathy, I will at least see if the new Twitch lib that I'm using can in fact notice when channel point thingies are redeemed. Yeah, so my plan for the palette thing is we're just gonna have a text file that people can set up, and you just kind of like define a name and then a color, a name and a color, name and a color, and the names are like well-known ones or whatever, and then somewhere in the game, I'm eventually going to add some kind of a settings menu, I think, where you can like click a button and go find the palette you want to use, things like that. So that's the plan. So we're getting pretty close here. So we made it this far. We're going through this theoretical text file. For each line, we're splitting it up the line to be the thing before the equal sign and the thing after the equal sign. And then Twitch extension config page. Hosted web build. Yeah, definitely currently planning on just making this a Windows, and I guess Mac if anyone ever wants one, but Windows executable that you just run and then input into OBS as a window capture. The current plan keeps things a lot simpler, at least for me, in order to create them. All right, so here we go. Boom, boom, boom. We found the usage. We're happy with that. Now we need to parse the color. Now I believe color utility try parse HTML string is what we want. Because this is going to, so then we can say, okay, are we able to convert this color from a string? And we're going to give it parts 1 and out C. So we make it into these two nested if statements. We have a valid usage and a valid color. So now we will just say color map for that usage equals that color. And we are going to probably want to print out some junk in the debug log for now, just so we can test this easier. So we'll just say got color for U plus and it's C. Okay, now let's handle our other cases here. So right here, else, we're going to debug log a warning for now. Could not parse color. And then we'll show what we were trying to parse, which is parts 1. And then right here, we'll say debug.log warning could not parse usage parts 0. Okay. Now, as I'm thinking about this is going to be a text file. We're probably going to want, I'm going to probably want some like documentation in the top of that file that says like, here's the format and here's like the different, you know, examples and stuff. So I probably want to put a thing right here that's like, let's skip lines that start with like a semicolon or a that's cool. Like if your stream has a certain colors theme, you can make, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. absolutely. And I was planning on having a bunch of default palettes that you can swap between. But then if you want to make your own, it should be super easy. Just like go find the palette files, copy one, and then just like fill in different values to make it look exactly like you want. At least within the realm of recoloring things, because I'm planning on keeping this very simple. It's just be flat colors, this, vector style is the current plan. So let's skip lines that start with a semicolon. So we can just be like, if line dot length is greater than 0 and line 0 equals semicolon, continue. Just skip it. So we don't even try to like look for an equal sign and everything, because some of those lines may have equal signs in them because we want to describe how the format of the file should be or something. Okay, so with that, in theory now, we should be able to load a palette. And so maybe now what we need is like a little palette manager or something. But probably what we could do first off is we can just like because what we need to do now is we need to make an example file. Let's get up Notepad, trusty Notepad. I'll switch it so we can see this in a second. And then we need some code to just try loading one. Like let's get that far. So yeah, because for example, if we go to like if I go to, for example, ball here, we have some visuals on this. Ooh, I don't think I actually set them anywhere here from code, do I? Right. Okay, yeah, because we're gonna end up writing a script to do this. So, let's see. Let's do something where on Game Manager, we're gonna end up making like a Okay, let's do this. We're gonna make a script called Game Config Manager. Okay, and this, we're ultimately gonna have a few things I think you want to be able to configure. Not just the colors of the game, right? But eventually maybe some other things as well. So let's start planning for a little config manager. And I think what we want to do is we're going to do this. We're going to say serialize field private string, and then we'll say config file name, right? And this is just going to be like, there's going to be a thing called cfg dot, and maybe this would be better if it's a little more complex, like a JSON or something. Might make my life a little easier if I do that. So maybe we'll do something like that. Okay, and so then now we do need to go look something up. We need to go look up. We switch like this, go like this, go like this. Unity function on load. Forget what this thing is called. This. So there's this magical thing. Yeah, called Runtime Initialize on Load method, and you can pass it a few different things. So okay, so this is what we do. So we say public void on, on application launch or whatever. I think this might have to be static, probably. Then we say like this, and then we say there's a few. No, that wasn't it. What is it? Runtime initialize load type. Here we go. So here, this basically allows you to say, hey, I have a method that I want to call somewhere in the middle of Unity's like startup procedure. And so there's a few different moments in time they give you here. Like one is like I think subsystem registration is probably the first one. And then after assembly's loaded is after that. And then before splash screen, before scene load, after scene load. So I'm going to say I want something that can happen kind of before any scenes get loaded, I think is what I want to do. So we'll do that. And this is where we're going to then just like load our config file and do anything. And for now, the main thing we're going to do is we're going to use our config file to tell us which palette we want to use. I think that's how we'll do it. But I think maybe in my config file, we could say, we could have a list of directories where to look for palettes, and then have, you know, the default palette file. Because I think maybe we're going to want an in-game option to swap around palettes, but for now, if we just make it so we can just, you know, explicitly put in a path to a palette file, we can load up palette here. So I'm going to need to go grab my like little used it in other games JSON junk, which if I remember correctly is, what did I use? I'm just looking through my files here to try and find. Let's see. I bet if I just search this for. Here we go. Where's this? Show open file location. Here we go. Oh, that's different. That's not the one I was thinking of. I have this like super simplified like little script you can use for mini JSON. There it is. Mini JSON. Grab that. Let's bring that over to Chat Predicts. Assets, scripts. And you know what? It's about time now to start organizing the scripts in this project. Because if we go back here now, we look at the project view. We got quite a few scripts now, and they're just sort of random. So we may want to, let's see, let's make one called, like a folder for utils. And then we're going to make a folder for gameplay. And like Twitch. Okay, so now let's move some stuff around. So ball trail, ball recordable transform, board recorder, bucket indicator. These all go in gameplay. Game palette, that's going to be a I guess that's a gameplay thing. A little ambiguous what that is. Place on start. Here, let's grab this. Twitch client, Twitch API, and emote cache. These are all things related to Twitch. And let's see. Okay. Visibility target, vote meter, wall, spinner, spinner spoke, recap tile, recap sequencer. These are all gameplay. Okay. That one can go in Twitch. Place on start. Level board. Nah. These are all gameplay. Most of them are ending up in the gameplay folder, but you know, hey, at least we're. Okay, the game config manager, yeah, and some mini JSON can go into here. Okay. All right. So let's go back now to this. Okay. So load our config file. Now we have mini JSON. .json.deserialize. And all you can do, I think, in this is you can just pass it a string and it will deserialize it. So we need a string. So let's just do this. If, let's see, string config path equals application dot per dot. Where do we want this? I guess we just go. I'm so used to mobile where you have to use the persistent data path because it's like the only folder you have read-write access to when you're running a game on mobile. On PC, like, I almost feel like what we want is we just want this in the same folder as the exe. Oh my gosh, we have a redemption. Glooscap has redeemed show us a custom Rubik's Cube. All right. Let's do that. So, okay, I think I have the new, this is the new way we're doing this. We can go to this view, a little less cramped. Let's see. So last time I showed this one, which is this weird 3 toruses intertwined thing that turns like a Rubik's Cube. Let's show a new one today. Let's see. I'm going to show one of my 2D puzzles, I think. Yeah, let's look at this one. Okay, so this one, this is what it looks like. It's not solved, and it's not solved because I can't solve it. I don't know how to solve it. But as a puzzle, it's pretty cool. So the way this thing works is you have these two loops here, and you have this weird sort of like kind of like spiral or screw shaped thing in the center here. And when I spin this, I can, let me make it, there we go. I can rotate at the same time both of these, right? And then, of course, there's one other thing you can do with this, which maybe you've already guessed by looking at it, and you can slide and connect different loops. So you might go over a little bit like that, come down, go back a little bit like that, etc. And then these colors you're seeing here, it's a little splotchy because the glue, they were very thin, these little tiles, is indicating where they're supposed to be. So like it's supposed to be, you know, what, 4 browns here, 4 browns here, 5 pinks here, 5 greens here, you know, yellows, light greens, orange, reds. And it's really hard. Yeah, it's really cool puzzle though. So see, like, so we have like a bunch of blues down here. So I could try to, for example, let's go like this. I'm gonna bring this blue over to here, bring it down to this row, and then bring it over to here. So we can bring this up, so we can get these all together. Then we could go like this. We could get these out of the way, and we could maybe by one more. We can bring this up, and we could go like that. Ooh, I'm off by 1. Hang on. Okay, we go like that to get the 2 blues. Oh, it's hard to see. The 2 blues over here. Put those down. Now put these blues right here. Bring it up. Now all the blues are together, and I can go like this, and I've put all the blues. You know, I've matched up the blues. But of course, in so doing, I've like screwed up everything else. So this, I have absolutely no idea how to solve this puzzle. But I think this is really cool. It's really fun to play with because all you do is you spin this little thing, and then you snap and slide these pieces back and forth. Matzi, you came in. You just happened to be seeing my actual green screen at the moment because right before you came in, Glooscap used one of my new redemptions, which is show us a custom Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cube as in custom Rubik's style puzzle that I made because I was super into making these a little while ago, and so I was showing off this weird puzzle that I created that I cannot solve because it's really hard. Yeah, Matsu, you are invited whenever you want to come by. I think we would have a fun time hanging out. So if anyone wants to see any more weird Rubik's Cube style puzzles that I've created, feel free to redeem that. There you go. Hopefully, yeah, Gluescap. I designed that and I 3D printed it on my 3D printers here. Yeah, all the redemption ones are ones I've come up with myself. This is not my living room, Matzi. This is the... What is this? This is the back room of the house. There's like a couch. Oh, you can barely see it. Couch right there. It's a pull-out couch when we have guests. Now let's go back to the land of code. Yeah. Okay, so we were about to do some... Oh, Matzi, you're gonna love this. We were about to do some Json parsing. I was gonna say basement. Yeah, no basements. I grew up in Colorado, so we used to always have basements in our houses, and my dad was really really handy and would actually like finish out the basements in each house. Yeah, some guy named Jason was famous for coming up with a file format. We're going to use his file format here in a second. So we're going to say, okay, we want to do path.combine. Oh, that means we need a system using system.io. Okay, so we're going to be like path.combine application dot what? What paths have we got here? Path to the game data folder. Is there like a path to the executable? What's data path? Data. Streaming assets. Oh, you're one of those who say JSON. I pronounce it as Jason. JSON. Yeah. JSON. I used to use XML for like all my games whenever I would need a file that I might need to edit by hand. But nowadays I know all the cool kids use this JSON business. Okay, I really want to get... Is there a way to get the Unity executable path? Ew. Gross. Oh, but we can just do path.get full path for the working path. Okay. And we could also do path.get directory name application.datapath. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to use persistent data path because people have to go find that, and I would need to copy a file over there in the first place. Yeah. And this is a user editable file. You should use YAML. You know, Unity does use YAML. Most Unity files, if you set them to be in text mode, they are YAML. Yet another markup language. Right, maybe I'll just do this. This looks kind of gross, right? But I'm comfortable with a certain amount of gross things. So we would be like path.get full path to here. And then we want to combine that with... Why does it not like me using system.path? Oh. DG tweening... What? Why is that a thing? Okay, fine. System.io.path, please. The one we're talking about here, okay? So we want to combine that with our config file name. Why is this not IntelliSensing? What have I done? Oh, because we're in a static. Right. Well, this doesn't need to be. This can be private, static, read-only. Okay. All right, so that's the path to our file. Now we can say if file.exists config path, then can I make the words a tidge bigger? Sure. Let's see here. Pretty sure I can just do that with Control+. Control plus? No? No? Guess not. That was VS Code, huh? Zoom. Zoom in. No, I don't want. I want help to zoom. How do I do this? View. How is it not in view? Edit. Ugh. Okay, hang on. Hang on. I switched over. Time to learn your tools better. Yeah. So I switched over to Visual Studio proper as opposed to Visual Studio Code. Tools, options, environments, fonts. Are you kidding me? There's not like a shortcut for it? Ew. Tools, options, environment, fonts, and colors. Are you kidding me? Tools, options, environment, fonts, and colors. Oh, control press scroll wheel. Okay, I'll give that a try. Let's see if, first of all, let's just try this. Oh my god, control scroll wheel does work, writer. Does work, writer, aka Matzi. Is that a little better? Why did you make the switch? Okay, so I really like VS Code. I'm super used to it, and it's fast. It doesn't get all like laggy and stuff. But recently, I was having all sorts of trouble with IntelliSense. Where it would just, no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to actually understand and, you know, do the autocomplete and everything for my projects, and or I was having trouble with debugging, getting it to attach and run properly. And so when that happens, I usually fiddle around with it and Google the latest problems people are having with it, and just didn't really find a solution, and I was in a rush, so I said, okay, fine, I'll switch over and try VS proper for a while, and it's been working, so I've just been sticking with VS proper for now, even though I like VS Code quite a bit more. Okay, so the file exists. String all text equals file.read all text from the config path. Now we need to do a thing here. Debug.log warning. No config file found at, and then let's print out the path, which is config path. Okay. All right, so now we've got our text. So now we should be able to be like object, you know, root dictionary equals this. Okay, and then we know it's going to be a dictionary going from strings to objects. Okay. If this is null, something is weird. Error, parsing, config. Okay. And then we would return, I guess, if that's the case. Okay. All right, now we've made it far enough. Now let's think about our JSON file. For now, it's going to be super simple, I think. We're just going to have one entry that we're looking for at the moment. I think, yeah, which is going to be... how do you know it's a dictionary of that format? Is that because it's the format you save it as? Well, okay, so yeah, I'm using this thing called mini JSON. I'm glad you use code formatting, put spaces after your if declaration. Oh yeah, I have a lot of like little, and I personally really like having the brackets on new lines just because I like to see them line up. I know that that's like a, you know, definitely a question of taste, but I don't really care about compactness. So I put lots of empty lines and stuff in my code all the time because I just like to. I don't mind spacing it out, you know. It's digital. We got all the space we want. So mini JSON is a really, really, really simplified JSON library that will basically, if you hand it a JSON file, it will give you back. It will get you back, you know, basically either a list of objects if it encountered an array, or a dictionary, and always in the dictionary case, the key is the string and the value is an object. And then that object itself may then again be another dictionary, right? If you had like a nested dictionary inside your JSON or whatever. And then eventually when you finally get down to inside the dictionary, the key value pairs, it's always a key, and then the value is either a string, like an integer or a long, or a float. And like, that's basically it. It's either like, I'll give it back to you as the string I found, or I'll try and turn it into a number for you. It's basically, it does parse numbers into their respective types. So you do have to do that. Like this, because I'm using this as thing, this is basically saying, take the result of this and cast this to this. And if it's successful, I will get a non-null object here. But if it's, oh, sorry. And actually, I'm going to define this as a dictionary of type string object. So if this cast here, this as, is successful, then root dict will be a non-null object. But if for example my JSON was just an array, then this would fail. But I kind of know in this case that my config file, the highest level thing in it, is going to be a dictionary of keys and values. Style question: your preference on using var? So I never use var, just because I learned coding in C and other strongly typed languages, and I just feel more comfortable when I know what the type is. Even though I know there's cases where, like here, it's kind of meaningless because I mean I'm doubly writing it. Like obviously I know the type right here, or at least think I know the type, right? That's what this line says. This line says I think I know the type, right? But I don't know. I'm just in the habit of anytime I declare a variable, I want to know the type. I'm just mentally, that's my mental comfort land. All right, so we made it in here. If we made it this far, we have a dictionary. Okay, so now I'm going to do the thing I would commonly do here, which is like expected / desired config keys. So we'll have a private static read-only string, and we'll call this s key palette path. So far, this is the only one we're actually going to be expecting. And we'll just do palette path. Okay. And this is just to avoid typos, so I'm just going to define it once up here like this. So then we can say if root dict dot contains key of s palette path, s key palette path, excuse me. Then when we're expecting a string value from this, so we're going to say string, palette path equals root dict s key palette path as a string. And again, this could be null if for some reason you put like a number or something in there. So we'll say, if palette path does not equal null, debug.log got palette path. Okay, and we're going to type that out. And then we're going to try loading it. So this will be game palette.load from file. And we're going to expect that this is a full path. I suppose we could allow for it to be relative path or something, but for now, this is just the get it working and then refine it thing. All right, so this should be kind of roughly enough boilerplate code. So we are expecting that in the same location as the executable. Ooh, now I gotta think about this. Where is that gonna be if we're running from the editor? I probably actually need like a little thing here. Special case for the editor. Yeah, here, let's hop back to the project real quick. Yeah, I could put it in streaming assets. That would be a shared, maybe that's the place to do it. It's not quite as simple for describing to end users, but maybe it's the right choice. So let's do that. Let's do it that way. Let's do that. So you can make a special folder called streaming assets in your Unity project, and anything you put inside this folder, the files get copied over as is into the project instead of getting normally processed into like the packages where Unity bundles up all the assets in the project and stuff. And so here we can save our JSON file, and then what we'll do here actually is this will be simpler. We're just going to say application streaming assets path. And now this will work in the build and in the editor. Okay, so now we need to make our cfg.json. Now let's see if Tim can actually remember syntax. So it should be curly brace, right? And then key value pairs. So this one's going to be palette path. And then, oh crap, what is it? Is it equals or is it like this thing? I think it's this thing, right? And then we're going to have a path, and that's going to be it, right? So we're going to say file, save as. We're going to save this to our project, chat predicts, assets, streaming assets, and this is going to be cfg.json. Please don't add a .txt extension. Save. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, we have a config. All right, now I'm going to put the console up here so we can all see it. Let's run the game. Okay, cool. Look, it worked. You could do your JSON editing in an editor. Have you ever tried Atom or even your IDE? Think, yeah. Often, if I was making a slightly more complex one, I would just Google like JSON formatter and find a web page where you can like, type it in and it will validate it for you. But we made it. We made it all the way to the point where we got a palette path. It was empty because I haven't filled in. So now we need to make some default palettes. And so we're going to put them in here in the streaming assets as well. So let's go file, new. So this is going to be an example palette. Okay. Example game palette. Format is usage equals color. Usage is one of the specific names below, and color is an HTML format color. Okay, valid values for usage. What have we got? Let's go look at the code. We have, let's go to, was it game palette? So here's all the ones we are expecting. Okay, so now let's go back to here. Okay, so we have this one. We have this one. At this point, it's like, hey, why didn't I just make this file format also JSON? I don't know. Why be consistent? Let's be unpredictable. More exciting to be unpredictable. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna save this into our same thing, and this is gonna be palette, and let's call this one. Let's go find one. So we have here found two websites. One called Color Hunt. Oh wait, hang on. Let me go like this. Go like this. So I found a couple websites. This one's called Color Hunt, which is kind of cool, and then there's this one, which is called Low Spec. I think this is the one that Vimlark frequently recommends. So let's pick one of these palettes and let's try and like map it into the game real quick. So like, let's say we wanted to do, let's see. This one's pretty cool. The maze, deep maze. Let's try it. So here they are, right? And so we would say like, okay, this is going to be the background. So wait, if we go back to here, we'll call this palette. Oh, dang, what was this? We'll call it green and yellow dot txt. Okay, so in theory, for this to work, we would just say like bg top equals, and then just put in that. Now we have to make sure. I don't know if our thing can handle having the hash mark there or not. We'll find out. So let's see. I think this would be the background color, right? So we want bg top and bottom to be that same color. Okay, and actually, let's put these in kind of. Oh no, that's fine. So let's do ball normal equals. And I think we want the ball to be the brightest object, so it's gonna be this yellow color. And for now, ball bouncy, it's gonna be the same. Ball heavy, it's gonna be the same. We haven't actually got support for these yet. I was just kind of planning ahead. Okay. Then we have the background. Then we need a. We can have empty lines. That's okay. We can just do it like this. Then we need the frame wall. So the wall's on the edge of the border. So let's go with this light green. No, let's go with like this color. Okay, so this is going to be frame wall. This is my. I was just talking with Whiteball about picking palettes. Yeah, I'm out of my element here as well. Okay, so far we've used this as the background. These are the walls that are the edges of the board. And then this is the color of the main ball. So let's do it like your average normal wall is going to be this color. So that's wall equals that color. And then we need bucket divider. I think we can make those the same color as the outside frame. And then moving object. And so the wall was the OOBE91. That was this one. So maybe like a moving object would be this color here. Okay? All right. In theory, we just made a palette. Now, let's go back to here. We should have this file here now. Yes, we do. Now let's go like this and say show an explorer. And I'm going to grab the path to this file. Okay, and we're going to put that into our JSON. No, I don't want to open it in Visual Studio Code. We're just going to stick with Notepad for right now. Thank you very much. Okay, so our palette path is blah, and then this. Save. All right. Now what happens if we run this? Okay, got palette. And that doesn't look right. Oh, did it? Hang on. Whoa. Okay, so the backslashes are causing problems. Probably because it's actually thinking that those are escapes. So that's unfortunate. Let's see if it can do it with forward slashes. Because the backslash thing, you know, is like an escape character thing. Like if you want to add a new line into something. Yeah, this might be a little annoying. Let's see if this works. Oh, look at that. Look at this. Got the path. And we got colors. And they look like reasonable values. Yeah. Gotta love Windows. I know. So I'm probably going to need to... I wonder if that's an option on mini JSON or something where you tell it not to do that, essentially. Let's go look at it. So if we go to chat predicts scripts utils mini JSON. Does it have any like configurations or anything? It has parse. I suppose. Parse a string. Okay, here. Yeah, here. Okay, so if it sees a backslash. Okay, C equals next char. And then C equals next char, switch C. We're already in the case of a backslash. Okay, here we go. So in the case of a backslash, if you see a B, do this, stuff. Yeah, and the problem is there's some different scenarios here. So this is kind of built into the way it's parsing things, which is probably cool because it's doing some, it's doing things like handling new lines and tabs and stuff. I feel like maybe I want to add a thing to this where you could say if you want to do that or not. Or for now, we just say you have to use forward slashes. Well, I'm working on stuff right now, but it's really fun to hang out with you while I go. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Matsi. We're about to have some pretty colors in this vidge game here. We are going to move along here, and we are going to hook up some colors. So now let's go like this. Let's go to our baseboard. Now let's go to the ball prefab first of all. The ball visual, right there it is. We're going to change this. This is going to be a single color. I have a question about shapes. I would assume do they all inherit from some kind of shape renderer? And does shape renderer have like some kind of common property for color? It does. Okay, cool. We should be able to do this. We should be able to say we want a new gameplay script called use color from palette. I see your true colors. Okay, so this is going to be like the simplest script ever, because what we're going to do is we're going to say you have a private game palette dot usage. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just call it usage, I guess. It's going to default to wall. Okay, and then on start, we're going to look for things that are possible for us to set the color on, and we just set it. So, for example, do we have a shapes object we can set the color on? Question mark. Now, we should do the background is special because it's a gradient. So I might do that one. Let's just do. I don't know how I like to feel about this. Let's see. Special case for the background. I mean, why are we giving that one a gradient? I don't know. I don't know why I'm giving that one a gradient. If usage equals BG. Oh, right. Oh, okay. BG top. Let's also do this. Let's do shapes, shape renderer, shape R equals get component shapes dot shape renderer. Okay, and so then we would be like shape R dot. And see, I bet they don't. I bet this has something for color, but not for gradients. Yeah, so what we would do here instead is we would say shapes dot rectangle. We could actually do that here, right? Shapes dot rectangle, rectangle renderer, get component shapes dot rectangle. So if it's BG top, and then be like, if the rectangle renderer is non-null, then set. What does it have? It doesn't have a set. Corner radius, color, blend mode. Pivot. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to go look at this. Okay, let's go look at this. So the board background, which is this one, it has a color mode of vertical, and then it has 4. Oh, it's a quad. It's a quad. There we go. Okay. So if the usage is top and quad is non-null, do it that way. Then I believe what we need to do here is we need to set a color A, B, C, D. Okay, cool. So we are saying B and C are the bottom, I think. No, A and D are the bottom. Okay. So quad dot color A equals quad dot color D equals, and we should get the color here. So color C equals game palette dot get color for our usage, and just assign that like that. Then we could say else if usage equals game dot usage dot bg bottom, and quad does not equal null. Then quad dot color B equals quad dot color C equal no color C equals C. Okay, and then otherwise we're just doing generic coloring for now. This is kind of dumb because it's a little too smart, you know, like it kind of knows what some special junk about the game, but whatever. So now we would just do shape R dot color equals C. Okay, so now what we should be able to do is here we can add use color from palette, BG top, use color from palette, BG bottom. And then if we go to the ball prefab, and we can say use color from palette, ball normal for now. Okay. And then we could go to our other prefabs, like the wall, and we're gonna disable this for now. And this one we're gonna say use color from palette wall. Okay. Then we can go to the bucket divider. Use color from palette bucket divider. We can go to our spinner. No, our spinner spoke. And we're going to disable the outline. And we're going to set this one to be use color from palette moving object. And then I guess, yeah. And then also the main spinner has this like little disk, which we're just going to say for now, use the same thing, use the dynamic moving object. Okay. Then we need to go to our game board itself, the basic board, and say visual edge left and right. You guys both get use the color, which is frame wall. And we need the ghost ball to be set up properly, but let's see how much this works. Hey, look at that. We have a new palette. Okay, so the things that aren't being colored yet as a result of this is the trail on the ball. Oh, at some point here we broke our ghost ball. This thing is supposed to be staying at the end of the ball's trajectory per segment here. So we need to look into that. Okay, so what do we do about the trail? I believe the way the trail is working right now is it's a gradient between colors. Let's go look at this. The ghost ball really should be a prefab. Do that. And the ball trail really should be a prefab. Now ball trail, yeah, so it's a visual line and it has color A, color B, which I'm setting on this ball trail script. So we could actually just have this script be smart enough to source its colors. Okay. Yeah, that works. Now, do we have a color we would want to use for that? Maybe this one. Maybe these two. This is a little interesting though, like. So we need a color for the ghost ball. Let's do that. Ghost ball. And I think the ghost ball should be the same thing as the ball, except we should add a alpha to it, right? This should be RGB. So the alpha would be like, you know, I don't know, 44 or something kind of small. Let's test that. So let's go back here and let's get our game palette, and we're going to add ghost ball. We're also going to add ball trail A, ball trail B. Okay, and then maybe for now we're going to test it out where the ball trail is actually this color. Ball trail A, ball trail B, ball trail A equals this, and ball trail B equals the same color. Save it. Okay. Okay, what did we just do? So now we need to go into the ghost ball and set it to be use color from palette, use ghost ball. This is cool. This is easy to add this stuff. And then the ball trail, we're actually gonna do this, where right here in reset, do we have a start or something? We don't. Okay. Let's do it here. So we're gonna do call A equals, what is it? Game palette. Get color. Ball trail A. And then B is ball trail B. And then I guess we actually don't even need to serialize these anymore. Okay. All right. So do we get transparency? We do. Okay. I mean, my rewind has broken something. Okay. So let's go here. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit, but I just realized why the ghost ball was not displaying where I expected it to be. So that's because in the, what is it? It's in the game manager. In the rewind, right here, we are this is happening too late. We have to do this here. Place the ghost ball now. And then we also do it here, and that should still be okay. Okay, so let's see if that's correct now. All right. Did that compile already? That seemed fast. There we go. Okay, so we have a trail. And we have the ghosted ball. And we could, for example, on the walls, yeah, this already looks way nicer. Now what we need to do is we need to make the, we need like some color options for the UI. Oh, sorry, Matzi. I hit stop before you had a chance to do much. I do have on my list, though. I don't know if I'm going to get to it today or not, but I'm going to do a bunch of changes to the username blah voted. Yeah, that's my placeholder text. I am going to... One of the realizations I had, Matzi, I'm going to do a bunch of things. Yeah, I've got it all worked out mentally, I think. So, number one, I am definitely going to put in like a drama round. So it'll be like, I don't know how often, but every n rounds, some number, probably one that we could add to our configurable config file. It will be like a special round. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it'll say something special, and it's going to be different. It's only going to show you like one trajectory chunk. Instead of like the cascading like longer and longer pieces of trajectory, it's going to show you one, and then everyone has to just vote on that one. They'll all have the same amount of time to just vote on that one, and then probably you have to vote. If you don't, it's same thing as getting it wrong. I'm not sure about that yet, but either way, that one's basically going to be this big swing round where everyone is either going to lose or gain points, no matter what, and it'll probably. That's the basic idea. So that's one thing. I think that'll just be cool to give the game a little more of a heartbeat, you know, so it's not just kind of the same thing over and over again. Second, I just need to change my thresholds. That 100-point tier is dumb. It's showing too much. I think that every vote should still at least be a little bit of a real guess, not just a gimme of like, okay, I saw it, there it goes. I mean, occasionally, right, luck is going to mean that things are easy. But I'll fix that. Yes, and as you're saying, the stacking is too much too. I'm going to go back and I'm going to change what the like streak, win streak bonus is. Oh, that's a cool idea, Matsu. Yeah, maybe having the win streak only apply for early guesses. I like that a lot. That's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I like that idea quite a bit. So there's a handful of things to try. I think the big one, though, the big one is that this thing here is just wrong. Like, we should not show 90%, period. You know, like, I think maybe we change it to, like, maybe it's still, like, 25%. This is more like 45%. This is, like, 60%. And this is, like, 75% or something like that. So I'm going to tweak these numbers a little bit, but I think that's going to make a big difference. Okay. So we could test this where we could say this one was going to be full opacity and this one's going to be much lower opacity. And now we should see that the trail has... Whoa! That's interesting. Is there like an alpha cutoff or something going on there? It's almost kind of cool as a dotted dash line, but let's go look at this thing. This. Yeah, so this material can't do transparency, or what's the deal? Blend mode opaque. Aha. There we go. I don't know if I like that, though. Okay, that makes sense. And then does this thing have support for dashes? Or did that come later? Oh, I don't think it's enabled on polylines at the moment. Okay, that's fine. Alright, we're probably gonna not do transparency then on this. I don't know, we'll see. Does that trail have gap insurance? So, do we need to add We need to add some UI colors, I guess. Now this thing, right, consists of 4 total colors, like the background, the fill, the frame, and the numbers, the text color. Oh, I also want to change the spinners around a little bit. But yeah. I don't want it to be like that there's tons of colors that you need to define in the palette. But we still have more colors here to handle. We need the bucket, like the 2 colors for the bucket indicators. Another thing that I think would be kind of cool is these levels that you have, are they just placeholders for now, or will you be using some of the ones you already created down the road? I think some of these will stay. It probably just depends on playtesting and if we feel like they are fun. You know, they need to, I would assume the thing with the layouts here is that they need to be the right balance of chaotic and predictable. Can you simulate a bunch of levels? Potentially, yeah. Yeah, I know that like this level, for example, like bucket 2 is pretty much the best choice. It is by far the most likely bucket for things to land in. Yeah. Yeah, some of them, I think the spinners, yeah, that's basically the metric though, Matsi, is like how interesting are the levels? Do they produce interesting variety, and also do they produce interesting predictions? Or you can make odds. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, see, this one fell in bucket 2. Yeah, that's interesting. So we've got okay, we need colors for the bucket indicators, which is the BG and the text. And then we have the like timer. And then we probably just want, otherwise we want UI, UI BG, UI fill, UI frame, and UI text, I guess. So for levels that have a common goal, the odds pay out less for that. Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. Definitely consider that. Like this one in particular is too easy right now, because basically if it hits to the left, it's going in bucket 1. If it hits in the center, it's going in bucket 2. And if it hits on the right, it's going in bucket 3. But I think that's a level design problem. This one, 1 and 3 should be really frequent. And 2 should be pretty rare. But part of the problem is that the I think the spinners are too dense. They're too heavy, and so they don't move very much, which means that they control more of the trajectory of the ball. So this thing's going to dissipate all the energy from the ball, and it's going to fall in bucket 3 most likely. In this case, I think it's going to like bounce one more time off the edge of it and drop down in 3. You know, you can just see it coming. I actually kind of like my orange bucket indicators on this particular palette, but we need to actually explicitly set them in the palette. But see, now this last one, this 100 one, it's not quite as trivial as it used to be, because we're seeing less of it. I mean, I get that in this case, pretty obvious it's going to happen, but it's not like it's already at the bucket like it was before. So I like that better. See there? It could have gone 2, you know, especially if I changed some of the threshold. This is a boring one. I also could put in a filter for boringness, because I'm simulating this before, and if we could simulate, like, and if there's only like one collision on the ball, or if just the overall duration of the ball is too short, we could try again and re-randomize the ball's starting conditions, so that we don't get too many like this, where it's just like, now we're going to spend 45 seconds knowing for sure that the ball's going in bucket 1. But that should be pretty easy to mess around with. Okay. So we need We need UI BG, UI fill, UI frame, UI text. Then we need bucket indicator BG and bucket. Oops. We're getting a lot of these all of a sudden. Bucket indicator text. Okay, so we're going to need a way to set text colors here in a second. Should be as simple as we go to this and we say text mesh pro. No, tm pro dot text mesh pro text equals get component tm pro dot text mesh pro, and then basically down here we can say if shape r, why is that happening? If shape r does not equal null, do this. If text does not equal null, then text.color equals C. Okay. Now, we also have our recap. And our recap thing currently has 3 colors. So we can set that up. We're going to say game palette also has recap tile A, recap tile B, recap tile C, and then recap tile text. Okay. So then what we got to do is we got to go to the recap, oops, the recap sequencer, and we would. This is actually an array of colors, but we're gonna go like this. And for now, we're gonna say it's an array of 3. Get colors. So for int I equals 0, I is less than colors, tile colors dot count dot length plus plus tile colors I equals game palette get color, and then we're gonna do this kind of the potentially slightly inappropriate way, which is gonna be we're going to take usage dot tile A, and then we're going to add I to it. We're going to turn that whole thing back into a game palette dot usage. 1, 2, yeah, so like this. Oh, did I spell it with 2 L's? I did, didn't I? Wait, let's fix that. This should be 1 L. Okay. Might as well be consistent. Okay, so then this recap sequencer can do this and do this. Okay, so that should get those colors. We also need to set the text properly. We need a way to do that. Oh, but we can do that with the script. Okay, let's go look at our vote meter. So the BG, this is going to be use color from palette, and it's going to be UI BG. And then the fill, it's fill. Frame gets frame, and the text here gets text. Okay, and then the recap sequencer, that's all gonna work. Now we can go to our prefabs and we can go to recap tile, and we say this. Ooh, this has an outline on it, so that's a little interesting to think about. Might be able to define both colors, but this would be recap tile text. And this one also would be recap tile text. Okay. I'm not going to worry yet about the color change thing. Okay, so now we got a few spots here where we don't have the right class name anymore. There we go. And here, where we actually load it. Okay, now we can go look at our palette. We added some more stuff to it, didn't we? We added all of these. Suddenly it's a lot of colors that you can set. Okay, so we added all of these. Okay. Okay, let's get rid of these commas. Okay. Alright, that's a little more compact. Okay, so let's do UIBG. What would this be from our little palette here? This is the actual background of the level. I think we would try this. We would put this one like that, and then we'd have UI fill be this color. I think. Or no. Let's do like this color. And then UI frame is also going to be the same color, and then UI text is going to be white. Okay, and then we'll have bucket indicator BG. What do we do about the buckets? Kinda wondering if we want a different, like a color that's not already in here. We could try this. Now the recap tiles, we're going to want these shades of green, I think. It'll be like that. This. This. Now I don't think I've handled the case where if you don't set a color, I think they end up turning out either the color of the walls or white, right? But we can leave it recap tile text equals white. Okay. See how much of that we actually set up properly. Oh, have fun coding, lurking Motzi, no problem. Hey, look at that. We got new colors. Already looks better. We did not set up the bucket indicator things, so that's going to be here. So the frame gets this set on it, like that, and then this gets this set on it with a value of bucket indicator text. Okay, cool. Now we run it again. There we go. This looks pretty cool. Maybe what we do is we make that like translucent. So the bucket indicator background would be like this, but like, I don't know, with some alpha. I don't know if those are set up to be transparent. Let's see. Yeah. Now I wish the text was white. Eesh. Just makes it look dull. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it better when they were the full colors. Let's put it back. Okay, now this needs to be black. Or like a dark gray, right? Or even, actually, it could be this color. Now we're thinking with palettes. Okay. Ooh, that looks nice. Look at this. We are getting somewhere. Now I'm going to put in a vote just so that we can... Oh, that text. Or that should be whatever UI text color is set to, right? We can set that up. Also need to do aspect ratio support. Did that, okay. Okay, we've got the colors we chose there. Only one. Oh, and there's no background on this. We're gonna need a background for this. Yeah. Add background to recap. Actually, really quick, I suppose what we could do is we could just set this, right? Yeah, we could set this to be solid color and just set this. We would need a new script to do that though. Or we could just Frankenstein up this script right here, which is color from palette. So we can say if cam does not equal null, cam.clear background color equals C. So now we could just slap our massive script on here and say, you know, BG top or whatever. So now when we go to the recap, we would at least have, yeah, that's cool. Now we need to set this to be solid color. There we go. All right. I think this is a fairly good stopping point for today. Made some solid progress on colors. Well, the game already looks nicer, and we can add more palettes pretty easily. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to want to work on this again sometime this weekend, and when I do, we're probably going to do some of the new we're going to do all the tweaks to the scoring and add some drama. Let's see, let's double check that this is going to work. Ooh, where is this going to go? I'm going to have to get in on the 100-point round here because this is... Oh, man. It's got a fair amount of speed. It might bounce into bucket 2. Here we go. Let's see. Nope. Okay. We don't want the rewind there. No rewind. On final recap step. And we got our background color, so that's nice. Cool. All right. So pretty happy with the progress. Oh, you know what? That's amazing, actually. This script here, it doesn't even ever get attached to anything, so we don't even need it to be a mono behavior, I don't think. But anyway, so we added this thing where before the scene loads, we call this method, which goes and tries to find a config file, which is a JSON file, and tries to quickly sort of parse it. And right now there's only one thing we're looking for in it, which is the path to our palette that we're going to use for the game. Now we call game palette load from palette, and game palette is just a list of colors associated with these enums, and it does that by loading up a file and looking for lines that are separated by equal signs and trying to find if the thing before it can be parsed as one of these, and if the thing after it can be a color, and if so, we remember that. And then in a bunch of places throughout the game we have this little script which on start says which enum it thinks it is and tries to find different things it might want to color, and if it finds them, it sets the color. So very simple. And then we made here's our config file, which is just pointing to text file, and we made our first palette. This is our yellow, green and yellow palette. We have a little documentation up here of how our palette format works, and then here's all the values. That's pretty sweet. Yeah. Yeah. We don't have default values for many of these. This could be a problem. I may actually want to define default values. But yeah, we've got these files all set up to be in our streaming assets folder, so they will show up in the build and be in a spot that we could direct players to go and add more, or change the configuration, etc. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah, so maybe off stream I'll probably add in a few other palettes to the game and mess around with different looks, and then on the next stream we're going to work on making the game a little more dramatic and trying to do some tweaks to the scoring. That should be pretty fun. Thanks for hanging out on this Saturday afternoon. I hope everyone has a good rest of their weekend. See you later.